Yeah. Yeah, this model comes in green and I think a black too. And the E-badge.
Probably put Jim right about here, so I'm going to turn this off.
Yeah, he said he'd go back and turn it off. How do you want it?
I like the
that celebrates the All-American winning team from the 1967 race in Le Mans, where the Americans, the only time it's happened, the All-American owner, manufacturer, drivers to win Le Mans. And that is the 2018 Heritage Edition of the current Ford GT behind us. But we can talk a little bit about that one too, because I work on that one. First, the Bullitt. I mean, I think you guys all know the history of the Steve McQueen family and Bullitt and that wonderful chase scene in San Francisco. This is our third rendition of the vehicle. And it took some of the characteristics from our performance vehicle, the Shelby GT350, and included it into this car. And it will be the only Mustang that you can get with these componentry. Now, it comes in the green and the black. That is historically relevant and today's representation of that cool, iconic color. We've had a chance to work with a lot of the movie and industry people. I don't know how many of you remember the TV show Short-Lived Alcatraz. We actually went back to the original Bullitt chase scene and actually worked with the crew, John Clore, myself, Steve Denby, worked with the filming crew to make sure that we got that drive historically accurate. And if you can go search it on YouTube, it's pretty cool. Now, it wasn't a Bullitt Mustang that did it. And no, when you take your media loaners of this car, we're not going to let you do that ride in San Francisco where you go up and airborne. A couple of really good, cool things about the car. It will be limited edition. It will be individually numbered so that you can collect it. So those of you who use the Marty report or some form of tracking your Mustang, you'll be able to track it. The major performance differences that kind of really help this get to the 475 horsepower out of the V8. For some of you, I launched the 05 Mustang, and we were really excited when the 4.6 got to 300. I mean, you know, a little bit more than a decade later, and we're building out of the 5-liter 475 horsepower. Now, we've taken some of the air induction system from the GT350 to include it in this. And we don't have the hood open, this is a prototype car, but you can definitely see some of the characteristics of that open air box and that larger air intake that can feed this fuel, feed the fuel to this fire-breathing monster. But the design cues in here, you can see what we call the torque thrust wheels. It's a good representation, carrying almost twice the width of the 68 car to have that wheel on there. And of course the red Brembos that come in here. You can see some of the changes in the rear as well. But you'll notice something on here. Look around. There are no badges. You don't have the pony on the front. You don't have Bullitt anywhere on the front. There are no badges. And our design team, Daryl Beamer, who was the lead on this design, basically stated that this car doesn't need the badges. It is in its Highland green, that green color, and the torque thrust wheels, so instantly recognizable as a Bullitt that you didn't need to badge it. It doesn't have the GT badge on the side. It doesn't have the pony in the front grille. Huh? In the gas cap.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Is that the same color? That looks light.
It is as close as, I mean, it's the same color code, right? But as paint has advanced.
I have a friend that has the last one.
Yeah.
And it's definitely gorgeous.
It's, how do we say this? This lighting is a little bit different. Same code, but it's the modern representation of what we produce today. I mean, the technology, not only in the suspension, braking, engine, you know, all the stuff there, that's advanced, but so has the finishing technology as well.
I would have thought it'd be darker.
Yeah, it's outside in the sunlight, like it's pretty spot on.
2 orders. Vegas.
So that's basically it on the Bullitt. Now it does have the MagneRide suspension. I was talking to some of you before when you guys were getting in the cars. That MagneRide, and MagneRide is a trademark, but what that does is, you can picture the fluid in your suspension. It has metallic particles in that suspension. And what the computer does is sense what you need and fires an electric charge to those metal particles that can make it more solid, or when they remove the charge, make it more soft within milliseconds. On the GT350 and on the Track Pack 2 that you guys were in, and on this car, if your front right wheel goes into a pothole, by the time your right rear wheel goes to it, it has already changed the suspension setting so that it does the best to keep the traction on the road. So like when the front wheel goes through it, the time your car gets to the back wheel, it's already made those changes. And that's available on the Track Pack 2, the GT350, and the Bullitt. It's standard on the Bullitt. Any other questions? Like we said, this is going to be a limited edition. It is a hard number. I do not believe we've publicly stated the number yet. I'm not going to say what the number is because I'm not sure if we've said it yet, but it is a limited edition. So it will be numbered individually as it comes out of the Flat Rock assembly plant in Flat Rock, Michigan. I don't think we've announced the pricing yet either on this one yet. So, you know, how do we say this? Our specialty cars, if you take a look at it, are still something that, you know, started back with Henry in 1901 when he built sweepstakes and did the first race. This is about democratizing performance and putting America on wheels, right? What did Henry want to do? He wanted to build a car that the masses could buy and democratize it, so it wasn't just the affluent. Well, the same thing goes with this performance stuff that you see on Mustang, Edge ST, or Fiesta ST, or Focus ST. These are still affordable vehicles. I'm not saying cheap, but affordable performance value so that we can get other people addicted to that performance so the rest of their lives